Okay, part two. Whew. That was just some. This time of the year, that doorbell rings and rings and rings. Wasn't my nurse after all. Anyway, I forgot where I am. I took, for the doctors out there, for the glaucoma and Sjogren's mixture, I could not see for 2 days. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was in too much pain. And so I took a 20-gram square of chocolate edibles this morning, and I tell you what, the pain in my eyes is gone, I hope. But when you have that compound, there's this product right here. I don't know. This is going to count as product placement, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this is the product. It looks backwards to me. And I'm a little bit high, so my husband went out and got me this, and it's fabulous. Unfortunately, the poor man went to the pharmacist and told him, okay, so here's my wife's story. What kind of antibiotic eye drop can I get her over the counter? And the pharmacist says, nay. She's got to see a doctor. But anyway, I missed my eye doctor appointment to confirm the glaucoma and shit. But I figure this will keep me going. And, well, that chocolate medication that has property values in it that decrease the pressure in my eyes, thanks. Thank you for that one. I think that's a good dispensary close by. I'm a Canadian girl, and it's legal. And there are legitimate reasons to allow for legal marijuana. We used to have it for medicinal purposes only. Because of autoimmune disease, neuropathic pain, anxiety, and, in my case, horrible pressure behind the eyeballs that is causing me not to be able to keep my eyes open and not be able to function. Plus, I got one of these suckers. I don't know what brand it is, and I don't really care, but it's a good first effort towards the joint pain that just came about because I'm writing a journal. I got this wonderful Christmas present. It's like the world always works out the way you need it to. My son is going to be having a little baby, and nobody knows who my son is on this, thanks be to God, unless you were referred to me somehow through him, but that's not likely because I am canceled literally everywhere. I don't belong. I never did. And I'm grateful for the challenge living in this body for these 62 years with this mind and these emotions and this enormous amount of love and empathy for the other, that I wouldn't give up for the most precious thing on this earth, whatever that might be, to the people of this earth that are so torn apart because of the need for power and money and control and land and wealth. No. You know, one thing that I learned being born to a wealthy society in the 60s is that wealth is not really where you want to be. Because if you live in a wealthy society where there's a strong middle class, and you've been fortunate enough to live that for beyond 4 generations or so, you're easily converted into the evil ways of communism. It's the most recent form of evil that took over 100 years ago. And I suspect it's the same story that repeats itself every 100 years or so in human evolutionary history. If you really look at it, think about it. Like what happened before that? Before World War I and World War II? Revolutionary Wars, the Franco-American Wars, the Boer Wars, the Vietnam War, the Cambodian Secret War, the South American Wars, Rwanda, Israel. You have to go back quite a few years to be considered a have-not in this planet. And it's time to stop your land grab and your people grab. You're not entitled to anything more than the next person next to you. You've existed beyond 50 years as Israelis in Israel. Count your friggin' blessings. Don't expect the world to bow down to you because you are scared and you're willing to kill off a third of this planet to get your way. Just like the Chinese. Just like, Mr. Putin is the only Christian among them. So I don't think that he's crazy enough to be willing to kill people for greed. Or a God, because a Christian God doesn't say that that's okay. We say that that's wrong. And it's time the world's got a grip on itself. Mr. Trudeau, my beautiful, beautiful boy, you were gorgeous. Your mother loves you. I'm sure she does. But the Canadian people are not very happy with you right now. It's time for you to say, election, please. Please, please. Mr. Jackie Boy doesn't deserve that pension. He's condemned Canadians for the last 3 years in partnership with you and, with your handlers, my dear son. You are your daddy's boy. You wanted a daddy to guide the way. Well, you found the wrong one, baby. Whoever it was that was telling you what to do is not good. He's an evil bastard. And guess who gets to take the heat for what he did? You do. Look at how people treat you. I mean, you were a superhero when you were an actor. Failed, perhaps. But you didn't give yourself much of a chance in that. Maybe you would have been good at that. You weren't good at being a teacher, let's face it. And for the love of God, how dare you have the right to think that you were good enough to be a leader of a country that was just ripe for the pickings thanks to the dirty deeds of your daddy and his friends? For the love of God, you can overcome that by reversing his fortune. And you could even win a seat. How happy would you be to win your own seat back? Think about that. You could still have a say. And your say means something now in a new world. That your people, your Canadian people, could learn to love you again. We're very forgiving. Just call an election. Call it immediately. Don't wait to get off your hot ski slopes. Enjoy those ski slopes. Call the election. Go back to Parliament on the 27th. That's almost 4 weeks into an electoral campaign. You will have all this time to go back to the people who voted you in and say, look, this is what I did. I'm very sorry. I made some stupid mistakes because I'm not my dad. I'm better than my dad. I do love the Canadian people, and I see now the error of my ways. I see now that he created something that he may have thought was good at the beginning, but it wasn't a constitution that anybody could, that held its way in, you could paper your bathroom wall and it'll come off the wall that quick because it was not worth anything. He sold us out to Britain. What's Britain? There was royals back then. Think about that. The birthright to the planet begins with the royals, right? Who were in charge 100 years ago? Wasn't it the royals? Isn't that the reason why communism worked? Because it killed that whole family. May God Almighty rest their souls, the poor things. Because they didn't know any better. They lived too long. I guarantee they were 100 years living the high life. Well, here we are, 100 years on. And the most accomplishments ever made by humanity made in the last 100 years. And you guys don't see God in this? That's God saying, hey, people, pay attention. Now, globalists, crawl back under the rock you came from. The people that are bought and paid for right now in the European parliaments everywhere, go home. Let us do our countries, ourselves. Leave Iraq to Iraqis. Afghanistan to Afghanis. Pakistan to Pakistanis. India to Indians. Let them deal. Let them all go back to their home. Especially the disgruntled ones that want to make Canada and the United States, Pakistan, India, Iran, China, Ukraine. How good did they have it? We had it the best way possible, and we threw it away. Mr. Trudeau, you could be the guy. What do you care about the rest of those MPs that turned their backs on you? Especially Chrystia Freeland, Miss World Economic Forum baby. She's a birthright baby too. But she's evil. She wanted things. Now, I think you were so rich and so spoiled throughout your life. You probably wanted power, and you had it. But you were drunk with it, and you turned the wrong turn along the way. That's why people are telling you. You know that woman who said, get the you-know-what out of British Columbia? British Columbians loved you. They sure couldn't have loved Jagmeet Singh. He's such a phony. But the minute he got in cahoots with you, I mean, Jackie boy went along for the ride. Does he deserve that pension? I don't think so. You could call an election on New Year's Day. Think about that. You're the Prime Minister of fucking Canada, bitch. You can do whatever you want. Because the snakes always show themselves. And the guy who exposed those snakes and said, I was one of them, can go back to his family. And we are a Canadian family. We are a Canadian Christian family, whether you're Protestant or Catholic. You are a Christian mostly, because we are the ones who built this land. Anyway, I'm going to let that go. I know it's my granddaughter, but I know she's calling because she's upset at me. And I really can't take people yelling at me anymore. So anyway, this is part 2 of my Christmas and New Year's message from the old chatty great-granny who's had a really challenging but rewarding Christmas season. And I'm looking forward to the new year, because I know that good people, good Muslims, good Jews, good Hindus, good whatever you call yourself, the part that's you, that's good, comes from God in whatever form he takes in your life. That's what I was taught to believe as a Catholic. Everything good comes from God. Everything evil comes from evil. And who is the prince of all evil? The devil. What is it called? The screw tape letters or something? Corkscrewed? I can't remember. My O2 levels aren't consistent to the brain. My memory's starting to go, but the point is, it's the C.S. Lewis. Anyway, he screw tape letters or something like that. It's the devil and his son talking about how to convince the world to turn against God by convincing the world that there is no devil. Well, we've come to know, a great many of us, that No matter what our faith that leads us to good is showing us one thing. Something evil's going on here, and we got to stop it. And we got to maintain the belief system that we have that is good. Good people don't want to mutilate children to become sexual things instead of people before they even reached the age of majority, which used to be 18. Now it's apparently in kindergarten. That's an evil world, people. How many thousands, hundreds of thousands of children are missing? That's an evil world, people. What does war bring? War brings evil people doing really evil things for a really short period of time, retrospectively. But a long way for the good people to find a way out of the darkness. So let's skip that step for the next 30 years, shall we? Why don't we try a new way? No wars. People go back home where you belong and don't go to another land to commit crimes. Take care of your neighbor first. Your family first. Your neighbor first. And so on and so on and so on. Rwanda doesn't have to happen. But it did. Because some stupid, power-hungry drunkard demanded they do it. That was in the 90s, people. You think the world's gotten nicer since? I don't think so. Let's make next year better. Mr. Trudeau, give us that Christmas present that you would love to deliver to your worst enemy, an election. Call on January 1st, 2025. You're the Prime Minister of Canada, my love. You can do anything. Please do it.